CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight at City Hall, where Council approved a controversial high-rise development in the city's southwest.
We've been given the target of 47,000 units by 2031. That's the size of Woodstock.
I cannot be beholden to the province on this idea that we are going to live up to this commitment on numbers of units if it's not what's best for the community.
Councillor Corinne Rahman called the decision a litmus test for Council. Neighbours have expressed frustration over Council overruling the Southwest Area Secondary Plan, which limits the height on the property to 9 stories. Tonight's decision permits up to 16 stories. However, the approval includes a long list of conditions the developer must meet before construction can begin. The ward councillor, Anna Hopkins, also warned colleagues about the lack of transit and other amenities in the area.
4,000 units is a lot of units going into this development, along with all the other development applications that are happening. We want livable neighborhoods. It's not a numbers game.
City Council may only get to see a summary of a confidential report used to recommend the South London location for an emergency responder training centre.
I want to see that report, and I want to see it come back to this council. I've asked for it. I've spoken to a number of people about it. I cannot in good conscience support this without seeing the feasibility study.
I trust our staff have done their evaluations of the 15 potential sites and that they're bringing forward their best recommendation to us.
City Council approved using 50 acres of prime farmland on Manning Road for the new emergency services campus. It's a $187 million project training police and firefighters. The location was chosen from a list of 15 candidate sites based on criteria laid out in a confidential feasibility report. City staff will consult with London Police about releasing an executive summary later this year.
The feasibility study contains components about the operational capacity and vulnerabilities of the London Police Service, which is why the business case was forwarded on. So that information is not going to be shared under the Police Services Act.
The judge in the World Junior Sexual Assault trial is expected to hand down her verdict on Thursday. With more on the events in this case leading up to this point and what to expect once the judge's decision is revealed, here's Nick Paparella.
It started out as a night of celebration and partying in London by members of the 2018 Canadian World Junior Hockey team to commemorate their gold medal win. However, it ended up with 5 members embroiled in a highly publicized sexual assault case involving a woman in a hotel room who was 20 years old at the time. It's a trial that would change their collective lives forever, with the woman called to testify and the players forced to leave their hockey careers.
There was a lot of hype about the case from the day that the individuals were first arrested and ultimately released.
Nick Cake is a criminal defense lawyer who has watched the proceedings intently.
And oftentimes, sexual assault cases are the word of one person against the word of the other. And essentially, that's what played out here. It's just that it was the word of one person against the words of others, because the complainant had alleged that multiple people sexually assaulted her in the presence of multiple people.
The case had a rocky start back in April after 2 mistrials were declared. 2 separate juries were dismissed, and the trial was then handed over to Justice Maria Caracia. The court heard evidence that the woman, who can only be identified as EM, had been drinking and partying with the players at Jack's Bar in downtown London before willingly going back to the Delta Armories Hotel for consensual sex with one of the players, Michael McLeod. However, when she testified, she told the court she wasn't expecting other players to gather in room 209.
And, regardless of whether, they're found guilty of whatever those accounts are. I think we've heard things that are quite disturbing throughout this case.
Laura Meisner is a professor and a safe sport advisor at Western University.
I think the attention, is indicating that there is more work to be done. Despite all of the policies that have been set in place, the educational programs that we've put in place, we need to do more work and we need to be thinking about this more broadly.
London police initially investigated the alleged incident in June of 2018, but found that there wasn't enough to charge the players, in part citing a video with the woman consenting to sex, which was shown during the trial. However, after she settled a lawsuit with Hockey Canada, London investigators reopened the case in early 2024 and charged McLeod along with Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, and Cal Foote.
And I urged people at the start of this to let the court make the decision. The court of public opinion, in my opinion, has never had standing anywhere, and it shouldn't have standing in this case, of course.
I don't think we are hearing the last of the outcome of this case, regardless of whatever comes out on July 24th. The polarizing nature helps us open up broader conversations about what we need to be thinking about, what we could be doing better, and maybe convincing the people that still haven't bought in to the problems that exist in these types of cultures that maybe there does need to be change.
Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Oxford OPP say they're investigating a fatal crash east of Woodstock from this afternoon. Police say the crash happened at Shaw Line and Highway 53 around 3 p.m. involving a commercial truck and a passenger vehicle. They say the person driving the car was pronounced dead at the scene, while a passenger was airlifted to hospital with life-threatening injuries. The person driving the truck was not injured. Municipal officials in Sarnia, along with the city's police force, have launched a new hotline to deal with issues related to homelessness. But as Brian Bicknell reports, when someone calls, there won't be a human voice on the other end because it's powered by AI.
It sounds like you're calling about homelessness. Is that correct?
It's the type of response you might hear if you call Sarnia's new AI homelessness hotline.
Are you currently in the Sarnia region?
It's not human, and it's not a voicemail recording. It's an AI response prompted by your answers to basic questions.
Do you need a place to sleep tonight or within the next 24 hours?
Sarnia Police Service and the city's bylaw team have launched an AI hotline in response to homelessness. People are encouraged to call the number to report any issues related to homelessness.
If someone wants to report an encampment, or if somebody wants to report perhaps disorder issues in a particular area.
The hotline follows the dismantling of Rainbow Park just south of downtown, where at times more than 100 people made the space their temporary home. Following public pressure and a court ruling, it was taken down last February.
What we're seeing now is a shift to a more of a dispersed population in terms of that demographic, which is another reason we've gone to the hotline, because we need a place for people to be able to report issues.
Part of the goal here is to get people out of the habit of calling 911 for everything. That's because while some issues do require a police response, other things can be handled by bylaw enforcement or other agencies. Some downtown businesses welcome another tool to help with homelessness.
Sometimes the people, they are just disturbing the people who are wandering and came for the shopping, and on the other hand we could help them.
But if this makes it easier and faster for the Sarnia Police, then I don't see it being a terrible thing.
In the meantime, Davin Lindforce, who says he has been homeless himself, wonders if the initiative further enables those not seeking support.
Empathy is a good thing, to have empathy, to help another person out, but do they want help?
Being unhoused is certainly a factor, but it's not an excuse in terms of committing criminal offenses. So we are enforcing the criminal law as appropriate and as our citizens expect.
The homelessness hotline number is 519-346-HOME or 4663. In Sarnia, Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A small town southwest of London is about to lose its only bank branch. The West Lorne BMO location will close Friday night after decades of service in the community. As Sean Irvin reports, there's hope another financial institution will step in.
West Lorne has amenities that newcomers and longtime residents look for. The village just off Highway 401 in Elgin County hosts a grocery store, hardware store, and most recently a favorite coffee shop. It also features a BMO bank branch along the main street. But come Friday, this bank will close its doors permanently.
I've been here for years and I'm going to miss it.
Frances Eagleson has been a customer of the BMO branch for 40 years. Do you feel in some ways betrayed?
No, I guess it's what's happening in this world, isn't it? What can we do?
The pending closure of the branch did not come without a fight. A local councillor collected hundreds of signatures in an attempt to reverse the decision.
The petition was shared with the folks at Bank of Montreal, but it was not enough to change their minds.
The news is disheartening for Greg Boyce. 1 year ago, the longtime customer retired to West Lorne after another branch in his previous community shut.
I guess this was the next one. It was disappointing for all your small town needs. It's kind of nice to have a bank handy.
While Councillor Denning acknowledges there is some hope a credit union might take up residence in West Lorne, nothing has been confirmed. In the interim, those looking for an in-person BMO banking experience will have to get in a car and drive to Glencoe.
For us, it takes 20 minutes to get there now, so I don't like it.
Even though she's approaching 84 and battling cancer, Frances plans to make the commute.
No, I'll be going to Glencoe.
As she does, she'll feel for those, including other seniors and farmers, who might find the drive too much of a challenge or inconvenience.
I just haven't got myself all upset, but I think it's terrible for other people.
BMO officials did not respond to 3 requests for interviews with CTV News to answer our questions about the closure. They later sent a prepared statement, which in part said the bank will ensure clients can transition smoothly to other branches in its network. In West Lorne, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Someone driving a City of London commercial truck crashed into the Talbot Street rail bridge today. It happened around 9:30 a.m. The driver almost made it through, but before reaching the other side, the truck clipped a safety barrier designed to warn about the maximum height allowed. The bridge itself was not impacted. Crews say they were able to extricate the vehicle without a tow truck, and the only other issue was leaking hydraulic fluid, which is all cleaned up just before noon. The Ingresol Rotary Club has opened a new facility supporting people facing food insecurity. With more on the space and the impact organizers hope it will make, here's Rita Ismail.
Grand opening. Hey!
The Ingresol Rotary Club has officially opened the charitable warehouse, a space transformed from an old gym to a hub for helping others.
Ingresol stepped up to the plate. The businesses, the commercial, residents. It took no time at all for us to put together that $120,000 because they knew the project was worth having to help the community.
Welcome to the Ingresol Rotary Charitable Warehouse.
Former Mayor Ted Komisky first proposed the idea as a place to assemble Christmas hampers, and it grew into something much bigger. The 6,000 square foot facility now serves as the new home of the Food Project, a coalition of local organizations working together to address food insecurity.
We're going to put Ingresol on the map, is that how we feel. We're really, really excited to have this opportunity. We are probably 9 to 10 charitable organizations that are joining a coalition kind of thing, and we're all moving in together.
Renovations were completed in just a few months thanks to a long-term lease with GM Canada and support from local businesses.
The need is there, and what this means is that Ingresol now has an outlet to work and to help.
The Rotary Club says the warehouse is more than just a building. It's a space built by the community for the community, and it's already making a difference. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
A local craft vendor says more AI-generated content is showing up at shows and festivals without proper labels. She says it's taking away from artists like her who actually hand-make their products authentically. Lauren Stallone reports.
This is a giant version of the little octopuses that I make.
Emily Marie spends hours making homemade crafts.
This one might take me, I think, 5 or 6 hours for me to get this absolutely perfect even more.
Marie sells her creations at local craft shows, but lately she has been faced with an unusual challenge.
It has become a big problem in a lot of a lot of markets. There are people coming in and maybe, passing off that they are making these crafts, not telling people that they are AI.
She says this is unfair to local artists, and vendors using AI should be honest and not claim their products as homemade.
They're not considering, the time, the energy, the effort, the thought that went into something like this. For people to be plugging a prompt into AI and just basically discrediting our work, our hard work, it feels almost insulting.
Experts say this is a big issue, not only for visual art, but also for music, sounds, and text.
How these systems work is that they are trained on a huge amount of data that's usually scraped from the internet. That includes, let's say, artistic data, visuals or written text from, artists who are out there, who are alive, who are trying to make money.
Luke Stark, who studies the impacts of AI, says these tools can be extremely disruptive, and it is important for consumers to understand who is behind them.
You get a little bit of benefit using ChatGPT, to do X, Y, and Z at work. But does that mean that, you or your job or the jobs that folks that may be at risk of being automated, right? So with these tools, always, don't think about these systems as something science fiction-y. Think of them as automation tools that's benefiting somebody in society, and ask who that is.
I use a DSLR for that, and I take it and I spin around and do.
While the future of AI may be unclear, Marie says her passion for sharing art with the community isn't going anywhere.
Cannot tell you how amazing it feels to see somebody be like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I'm like, I thought it was cute, and I love that other people think it's cute.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Coming up, a deflating morning for Elmira commuters. Protesting vandals letting the air out of a whole neighborhood's tires. Police now investigating. Canada's main stock index saw modest gains today, while American markets were mixed. The TSX up 47 points in New York. The Dow added 179. The Nasdaq lost 81. Canadian dollar up almost a third of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $37 an ounce. Oil fell 64 cents a barrel. The new owners of a local housing manufacturer say they plan on ramping up sales significantly. They say they'll be able to more than double production, building smaller homes in a bigger factory. With more, here's Scott Miller.
Doug Kyvenhoven has watched over 7,000 homes being built inside the Royal Homes factory in Wingham, a business his father started 54 years ago. But Kyvenhoven and his partners recently decided it was time to find new owners.
We've had some tough years, we've had some good years, but we were getting to that age where it was time to transition the business.
Sid Kerrigan is one of those new owners who is ready to build on Royal Homes' factory-built housing model. Right now, Royal builds about 100 largely custom homes in their Wingham factory each year. But Kerrigan envisions building 500 to 1,000 smaller modular homes each year.
That's not really available in the marketplace right now. So we believe we can create an ability to bring that type of, I'm going to say, more repeatable housing at scale. And you can imagine as you do more at scale, more repeatable, more cost efficient, we can pass those savings on to the customer.
He believes the ability to build homes in weeks, not months, will set Royal apart, as Ontario requires as many as 2 million new homes within the next 5 to 10 years.
I really believe there's any market in the world that should be focusing more on prefab, factory-built housing, it's Ontario.
There's about 100 or 110 employees that work for Royal Homes currently, but Kerrigan says he hopes to double that number in pretty short order. He also says a second or possibly third factory isn't out of the question either.
That'll be growth in terms of employment hiring. That'll be growth in terms of technology. Anything we can do to create high quality at speed, at scale. And yeah, there's a very strong possibility of that happening going forward.
That's music to Doug Kyvenhoven's ears. He really wanted to see his father's business not only stay in Wingham, but grow in Wingham.
And so I think the time has really come. There's a huge housing need. And so there's a real opportunity for the new owners to really take this place, take Royal Homes and really run with it.
In Wingham, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Good evening. Clear and cool overnight, nice and comfortable. Watch for a bit of fog as you head out the door first thing Wednesday morning, but lots of sunshine, so that fog will quickly mix out. Thanks, Russell, for this photo. Great way to keep cool in the water. Temperatures are set to climb in the coming days. The heat, humidity increasing. By Thursday, we could see a heat warning. Stay with us. I'll have all your local forecast details coming up.
Welcome back on the desk with Julie now, and it feels like we're in the midst of a stretch of weather here, Julie, where we haven't really done any news stories on the weather because it's been so calm and comfortable. Not a whole lot to talk about when it's just nice out.
Absolutely. Comfort levels have been almost perfect. I was mentioning this last week, almost like Goldilocks weather. Not too hot, not too cold. Perfect summer conditions with daytime highs right around where we should be in the mid to upper 20s. Today coming in at 26 degrees. And again, it's really the humidity that's been nice and comfortable, keeping that in check. That's all about to change as we head into tomorrow and Thursday. You'll notice a major change in terms of the heat and humidity building. It'll start to feel close to 40 once again. We have some fog in the forecast overnight, a little bit of fog creating a low visibility first thing in the morning. Overnight lows anywhere from 12 to 13 degrees, a bit warmer along the lakeshore from 16 to 17. High pressure has been firmly in control of the forecast. No watches or weather warnings in Ontario. It's been beautiful. We do have a little bit of rain coming into areas to the northwest, but other than that, in the clear. Through the day, Wednesday, full sunshine, a perfect day. As we head into Thursday morning, a warm front comes in, and that will bring in some very spotty showers, although the probability is quite low. It'll last, if we get that little bit of light rainfall, it'll be a brief about an hour between about 6 and 8 a.m. Thursday morning, and then we're back into a mix of sun and cloud. We could see some evening showers develop toward the Bruce Peninsula as we head into a Thursday night. But your Wednesday, we're in the clear, gorgeous sunny conditions, 29 in the afternoon, so it will be warmer than it was today and feeling like a 32. Our East Park forecast for your Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud, feeling close to 43. So we could see a one-day heat warning issued for Thursday. And then by Friday, still quite humid, but scattered showers expected as a cold front will make the move through. The front, unfortunately, does not bring us a cool, dry air mass. We'll hold on to the heat and humidity for the weekend. Saturday into Sunday, daytime highs 29 to 31. Scattered showers and thunderstorms expected Monday with the passage of our next front, and that will bring us a dip in the humidity as we head into Tuesday. So we have been without the extreme heat and humidity for a number of days now. So we will see it building in for tomorrow. It'll just start slow by Thursday. We're right back into it. It'll be a very hot and humid day. Thursday night, chance for rainfall. Daytime highs across the region anywhere from 31 to 32. It is going to be a very warm weekend. If you do have plans perhaps to head to the beach, or you're going to maybe hang out at a friend's pool, it'll be a great weekend for that, with highs over the weekend from 28 to 31. Possibility of some storms coming in Monday as we see a big temperature change Monday into Tuesday. So just get ready. We are expecting that heat and humidity to build as we head through the day tomorrow, but another gorgeous day right across the region.
Thank you, Julie. Police in a small southwestern Ontario community say they've launched a mischief investigation after an apparent act of protest. Jeff Pickle has more on the deflating message the demonstrators were trying to send.
Identity concealed, the suspect approaches an SUV in the dead of night, but they're not there to take the vehicle or take anything except the air out of the tires.
Both my left side front and rear tire were flat.
Jeff says he got up to walk his dog when he saw the paper on his windshield, but didn't notice his tires until he saw his neighbors in a panic.
Noticed a couple neighbors down the street were running back and forth with compressors and trying to get people up and running to get to work on time.
Jeff, who is retired, says he wasn't too deflated by the deflation, but says others were.
You know, it is an inconvenience for a lot of people. To get to work, a couple of them had to Uber.
The group is called the Tire Extinguishers, a very loose collection of activists from across the globe aimed at getting large gas-consuming vehicles off the road. The pamphlet left on the vehicle reads, "Attention, your gas guzzler kills," adding, "You'll be angry, but don't take it personally. It's not you, it's your car. We did this because driving in an urban area in your massive vehicle has huge consequences for others." It's a tactic some victims say is not effective.
I don't think it's the best way to get their point across.
Police say none of the vehicles suffered permanent damage, but say this is a serious incident.
This type of incident would follow under like mischief to property.
And they say deflating tires could have serious consequences.
They don't realize that the air has been let out of their tires and they start driving. So obviously there is the safety component.
Police say they are investigating, and anyone with information or video should reach out. Jeff Pickle, CTV News, Elmira.
Finally tonight, the loss of an icon in the music world. Ozzy Osbourne's family announced his death today, just 3 weeks after he played a farewell gig with his band Black Sabbath. With more on the life of a generational performer with an even bigger personality, here's Heather Wright.
The godfather of heavy metal, the Prince of Darkness. Ozzy Osbourne was a showman, a singer, and later a reality TV star who rose to fame in the 1970s as the frontman of Black Sabbath. Known for his iconic wail, Osbourne was an icon of the heavy metal genre he helped pioneer. Today, the Osbourne family said in a statement, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love." Born John Michael Osbourne in Birmingham, England, Osbourne recorded more than half a dozen albums with Black Sabbath, including hits like Paranoid and War Pigs. But by 1979, his struggles with substance abuse were so severe, he was fired by the band. Mama, I'm coming home. Osbourne went on to have a successful solo career and was later inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, with both Black Sabbath and as a solo artist. Both beloved and controversial, Osbourne once bit off the head of a bat while on stage and was arrested for trying to strangle his wife while drunk. He later reconciled with his wife Sharon and became a reality TV dad to a whole new generation in the show The Osbournes, along with 2 of his 5 children, Jack and Kelly. In 2020, Osbourne announced he had Parkinson's disease and, despite his health challenges, tried many times to return to the stage. Just weeks ago, he performed from a black throne on stage with Black Sabbath in his hometown of Birmingham. It was his first show in 20 years with the original band members, and it would be the last of his legendary life. Heather Wright, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.